What if the reason you're not rich yet has nothing to do with your job, your education, or your opportunities, but everything to do with a hidden program running inside your mind, a program you didn't choose, didn't design, and probably don't even realize exists? Because from the moment you were a child, you were being conditioned, shaped by what you heard about money, what you saw your parents do with it, and what you experienced emotionally around it. And those moments didn't just pass, they stayed, they formed beliefs, and those beliefs became your financial blueprint, silently controlling how you think, how you act, and ultimately how much money you allow yourself to earn, keep, and grow. And this is why some people rise again after losing everything, while others stay stuck no matter how hard they try. Because success is not about luck, it is about programming. And as revealed in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, if your subconscious blueprint is not set for wealth, nothing you learn, nothing you do, and nothing you try will make a lasting difference. Because you will always return to what feels a normal for you, even if that normal is struggle. And this is the wake-up call. Because it means your results are not random, they are predictable, they are the direct outcome of your internal world. And if you want to change your life, you must first change your mind. Not just on the surface, but at the deepest level of your beliefs, your identity, and your habits. Because money is not the problem. Money is the result. And if you focus only on the result, you will stay stuck. But if you change the root, everything changes. And this is where your power begins. Because the moment you realize that your blueprint can be rewritten, that your beliefs can be upgraded, and that your identity can expand, you step into a completely new reality. One where you are no longer limited by your past conditioning, but driven by your future vision. And this is the difference between those who chase money and those who attract it, because rich people don't just work harder, they think differently, they act differently, and most importantly, they are wired differently. And now the question is no longer a can you become wealthy, but are you willing to reprogram the way you think, step into a new identity, and become the kind of person who naturally creates, attracts, and sustains wealth? Once you do, everything changes. Your decisions change, your actions change, your results change. And the life you once thought was out of reach becomes something you begin to build deliberately, consistently, and powerfully from the inside out. Imagine standing at the edge of your life, looking at your bank account, your opportunities, your results, and realizing something uncomfortable, something most people never dare to face, that it's not the economy, not your job, not your luck, and not even your skills that are holding you back, but something far deeper, something invisible, something programmed inside you years ago without your permission. And that hidden force is quietly controlling every financial decision you make, every opportunity you take or avoid, and every result you create. Because as revealed in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, money is not just about strategy, it is about psychology, it is about your inner world shaping your outer world. And once you truly understand this, your entire perspective begins to shift, because you start to see that wealth is not created first in your bank account. It is created in your mind, in your beliefs, in your habits, and in the unconscious patterns that guide your actions every single day. And this is where the real game begins. Because while most people are trying to change their results by working harder, chasing opportunities, or learning new strategies, the truth is they are ignoring the root cause. They are trying to change the fruits without ever changing the roots. And that is why success feels temporary for so many. Why money comes and goes, why opportunities appear and disappear, because until you change the internal blueprint that governs your financial life, nothing on the outside will ever truly stick. And this is the moment where everything becomes clear. Because you begin to realize that rich people are not just different in what they do, they are different in how they think, how they see opportunities, how they respond to challenges, and how they relate to money itself. And that difference is not accidental. It is programmed. It is conditioned through years of beliefs, experiences, and influences that shape their financial identity. And the most powerful realization of all is this: if that blueprint was learned, it can be changed. And if it can be changed, your entire financial future can change with it. And this is where you step into a new level of power, because now you are no longer a victim of your past conditioning. you become the architect of your future, someone who can consciously choose new beliefs, new habits, and new strategies that align with wealth, success, and freedom. And this is not just about making more money. It is about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts, creates, and sustains wealth. Because financial freedom is not an event, it is an identity. It is a way of thinking, a way of acting, and a way of being. And as you move forward, you will begin to uncover the hidden patterns that have been running your life, the invisible scripts that have been shaping your decisions, and the unconscious limits that have been keeping you stuck. And once you see them, once you understand them, and once you decide to rewrite them, everything changes, because the moment your inner world shifts, your outer world must follow. And that is the real secret, the secret that separates those who struggle from those who thrive, those who chase money from those who attract it, and those who live limited lives from those who create unlimited possibilities. And now the only question that remains is this: are you ready to reprogram your mind, redefine your relationship with money, and step into the version of yourself that is capable of achieving the wealth, freedom, and success you've always known was possible deep down inside? As you step deeper into this journey, you begin to realize something that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. And that is this: your financial life is not a matter of chance. It is a reflection of a deeply ingrained internal program, a blueprint that has been shaping your decisions, your behaviors, and ultimately your results for years, often without your awareness. And this blueprint, as revealed through the teachings of T. Harv Eker, is not something you were born with. It is something you were conditioned into, something you absorbed from your environment, from your family, from your experiences, and from the countless messages you received about money while growing up. And once you truly grasp this, you begin to see your life differently, because what once appeared as random outcomes now reveals itself as predictable patterns, patterns that repeat over and over again until they are consciously changed. And this is where the real work begins, because awareness alone is not enough. Understanding is not enough. Even intention is not enough. You must be willing to challenge, to question, and ultimately to rewrite the very beliefs that have been guiding your financial life. Because whether you realize it or not, your thoughts about money are not necessarily your own. They are inherited, they are learned, and they are often outdated. And this is why so many people struggle, not because they lack intelligence or opportunity, but because they are operating with a blueprint that is not designed for success. And this is where you must pause and ask yourself a powerful question: what did I learn about money growing up? What did I hear? What did I see? And what did I experience? Because those answers hold the key to understanding your current reality. And as you begin to reflect, you may recall phrases, beliefs, and attitudes that were repeated so often they became part of your subconscious mind. Statements like money is hard to earn, rich people are greedy, you have to struggle to succeed, or there's never enough. And while these statements may have seemed harmless at the time, they have a profound impact on how you think, how you feel, and how you act when it comes to money. Because as Eker explains, your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions lead to your results. And if your thoughts are rooted in limitation, your results will reflect that limitation. And this is why changing your financial life begins with changing your thinking, not on the surface, but at the deepest level of your subconscious programming. And this is where most people resist, because it requires letting go of familiar beliefs, even if those beliefs are not serving them, because the mind seeks comfort, it seeks familiarity, and it often clings to patterns that are known, even when those patterns lead to undesirable outcomes. And this is why change can feel uncomfortable, because you are not just changing your actions. You are changing your identity. You are stepping into a new way of thinking, a new way of being, and a new way of relating to money. And this is where growth happens, because growth is not found in comfort. It is found in challenge, in expansion, and in the willingness to see things differently. And as you begin to shift your perspective, you start to recognize that money itself is not the problem. Money is simply a result, a reflection of what is happening inside you, and this is one of the most powerful principles you can understand, that money is an effect, not a cause. And if you want to change the effect, you must address the cause, and the cause is always internal. It is your beliefs, your habits, your mindset, and your relationship with money. And this is why two people can have the same opportunities, the same resources, and the same knowledge, yet achieve completely different results because they are operating from different blueprints, different internal programs that guide their actions and decisions. And this is where you begin to see the importance of taking responsibility. Because once you understand that your results are a reflection of your programming, you can no longer blame external circumstances. You can no longer point to the economy, your job, or your situation as the primary cause of your financial condition. Because while those factors may influence your environment, they do not determine your outcome. Your outcome is determined by how you think, how you respond, and how you act within that environment. And this realization is both empowering and demanding, because it places the responsibility squarely on your shoulders, but it also gives you the power to change, to grow, and to create a different future. And this is where you begin to step into your true potential, because you are no longer reacting to life, you are creating it consciously, intentionally, and strategically. And as you continue on this path, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your thinking, shifts that lead to new behaviors, new habits, and new results. And these shifts may seem small at first, but over time they compound, they build upon each other, and they create momentum. And this is how transformation happens. Not overnight, but through consistent, deliberate effort to align your inner world with the outcomes you desire. And this is where financial freedom begins, not in the bank, but in the mind. Because when you change your thinking, you change your actions, and when you change your actions, you change your result. And as you integrate these principles into your life, remember this powerful truth: or income can grow only to the extent that you do, because your external success will always be a reflection of your internal growth. And the more you expand your mindset, the more you challenge your limitations. And the more you align your beliefs with success, the greater your capacity to create wealth, opportunity, and freedom. And this is the journey you are now on. A journey not just to earn more, but to become more, to evolve into the kind of person who naturally attracts success, sustains wealth, and lives a life of abundance, purpose, and fulfillment. And once you fully embrace this path, you will begin to see that the greatest investment you can ever make is not in stocks, not in real estate, but in yourself, in your mindset, in your growth, and in your ability to think, act, and live like the person you are becoming, because that is where true wealth is created. And that is where your transformation truly begins. As you go deeper into this transformation, you begin to uncover something even more powerful, something that most people never fully understand. And that is this: your financial blueprint is not just influencing your income, it is controlling your entire relationship with money. From how you earn it, to how you spend it, to how you save it, to how you invest it, and even how you feel about it. Because money is never just about numbers. It is about emotions, identity, and deeply rooted beliefs that operate beneath the surface of your conscious awareness. And as Harv Eker explains, these patterns are formed through three primary influences: what you heard, what you saw, and what you experienced. And each of these layers creates a powerful imprint on your subconscious mind, shaping the way you think and act around money for years, often decades, without you even realizing it. And this is where things become incredibly revealing, because when you begin to examine these influences, you start to see patterns that have been repeating in your life, patterns that once seemed like coincidence but are now clearly part of a larger system. A system that has been guiding your financial outcomes all along. And this is where awareness becomes your greatest weapon. Because once you see the pattern, you can no longer unsee it. And once you recognize that these patterns are not you, but something you learned, something you adopted, something you inherited, you gain the power to change them. And this is where true transformation begins, not by forcing external change, but by rewiring the internal program that drives your actions. And as you reflect on what you heard about money growing up, you may begin to notice how certain phrases have shaped your thinking. Phrases that were repeated so often they became part of your identity. Phrases that may have sounded harmless at the time but carried powerful emotional weight. And these words, spoken by parents, teachers, or authority figures, became the foundation of your beliefs about money. And those beliefs became the lens through which you view every financial decision. And this is why two people can hear the same opportunity and respond completely different because they are filtering that opportunity through different belief systems. And as you move to the next layer, what you saw, the modeling of behavior around money, you begin to understand that actions often speak louder than words, because as children, we are constantly observing, constantly learning, and constantly mimicking the behaviors of those around us, especially our parents. And whether they were savers or spenders, whether they were stressed about money or relaxed, whether they saw money as a tool or as a problem, all of these behaviors become part of your internal blueprint. And without even realizing it, you may find yourself repeating those same patterns, either by copying them directly or by rebelling against them. But in both cases, you are still being influenced by them. Because even rebellion is a form of reaction, not true independence. And this is why so many people feel stuck in cycles they cannot explain. Because they are not acting consciously, they are reacting subconsciously. And this is where the third influence becomes even more powerful. Your experiences. The emotional moments that left a lasting imprint on your mind, because these experiences are often charged with strong emotions, and those emotions create powerful associations with money, associations that can drive your behavior for years without you even being aware of them. And this is why someone who experienced stress, conflict, or loss related to money may unconsciously avoid it, sabotage it, or push it away, while someone who associates money with freedom, joy, or opportunity may naturally attract and manage it more effectively. And this is where the concept of the money blueprint becomes undeniable, because it explains why people with similar opportunities can have completely different outcomes. And this is where you begin to take back control. Because once you understand that your current financial situation is not random, but a result of your conditioning, you can begin to change that conditioning. And this is where the process of transformation becomes practical, because as Eker outlines, there are 4 key steps to changing your blueprint: awareness, understanding, disassociation, and reconditioning. And each of these steps plays a critical role in breaking free from old patterns and creating new ones, because awareness allows you to see what is there. Understanding helps you recognize where it came from. Disassociation allows you to separate yourself from those beliefs. And reconditioning gives you the tools to install new, empowering beliefs that support your success. And this process is not just theoretical, it is actionable. It is something you can begin applying immediately by questioning your beliefs, by challenging your assumptions, and by consciously choosing new ways of thinking that align with the results you want to create. And this is where your power lies, not in changing the world around you, but in changing the way you respond to it, because when your internal blueprint changes, your external results must follow. And this is one of the most important financial freedom principles you can ever understand. That wealth is not created by chance. It is created by design, by intentionally aligning your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions with the outcomes you desire. And as you continue on this journey, you will begin to notice that your relationship with money starts to shift. You become more aware of your decisions, more intentional with your actions, and more confident in your ability to create and manage wealth. And this confidence is not based on luck or external validation. It is based on a deep understanding of how your mind works and how to direct it towards success. Masi. And this is where true freedom begins. Not just financial freedom, but the freedom to think differently, to act differently, and to create a life that is not limited by your past, but defined by your potential. And as you embrace this new way of thinking, remember this powerful declaration: what I learned about money is not necessarily true, and I choose new beliefs that support my success. Because in that moment, you are no longer a product of your past, you become the creator of your future, and that is where everything changes. Because once you take control of your inner world, your outer world has no choice but to align with it. And that alignment is what leads to consistent growth, sustainable wealth, and the kind of financial independence that is built not on temporary success, but on a solid foundation of mindset, awareness, and intentional action that continues to expand as you continue this journey. Something powerful begins to unfold within you, something that most people never fully grasp. And that is the realization that your financial life is not just shaped by what you know, but by what you consistently do. And what you consistently do is always a reflection of how you think and how you think is governed by your financial blueprint. And this is where the real separation between rich thinking and poor thinking becomes undeniable, because as Harv Eker teaches, it is not circumstances that determine your destiny, it is your patterns, your habits, and your internal conditioning that dictate the level of success you allow yourself to achieve and maintain. And once you begin to see this clearly, you start to notice that wealthy individuals operate from a completely different set of mental files, what Eker calls wealth files. And these files are not just ideas, they are ways of being, and ways of acting that consistently produce results. And this is where your transformation begins to accelerate, because now you are not just observing your patterns, you are actively replacing them, consciously choosing new ways of thinking that align with wealth, growth, and abundance. And one of the most profound differences you will begin to notice is how rich people take full responsibility for their financial lives, while others tend to blame external circumstances, because responsibility is power. And when you take responsibility, you take control. And when you take control, you create options. And options are the foundation of financial freedom. And this is why one of the most powerful declarations you can adopt is this: I create my life. Because in that moment, you are no longer a victim of circumstances, you become the architect of your results. And as you step into this mindset, you begin to understand another critical principle, that rich people play the game of money to win, while most people play not to lose. And this difference is subtle but incredibly powerful, because when you play to win, you take calculated risks, you pursue opportunities, and you think long term. But when you play not to lose, you avoid risk, you focus on security, and you limit your potential. And this is why so many people remain stuck, because they are operating from fear rather than vision, from limitation rather than possibility. And this is where you must make a conscious decision to shift your focus from avoiding failure to pursuing success, because your focus determines your direction, and your direction determines your destination. And as you continue to evolve, you will begin to see that rich people are committed to being rich, not just interested in it, because interest is weak, interest is conditional, interest disappears when things get difficult. But commitment is different. Commitment is absolute. Commitment means you will do whatever it takes, ethically and legally, to achieve your goals. And this level of commitment is what separates those who dream from those who achieve, because success is not reserved for the most talented. It is achieved by those who are most committed. And this is where another powerful shift occurs, because you begin to understand that rich people think big, while others think small. And thinking big is not about ego, it is about impact. It is about expanding your vision, increasing your value, and creating opportunities that go beyond your immediate needs. Because the bigger the problem you solve, the greater the reward. And this is a fundamental financial freedom principle, that income is directly proportional to the value you provide, and the more people you serve, the greater your potential to earn. And this is why rich people focus on opportunities while others focus on obstacles, because where you place your attention determines what you see, and what you see determines what you act on. And as you begin to align your thinking with opportunity, you naturally begin to take actions that move you forward, actions that create momentum, and momentum is what drives success. And this is where you begin to notice another key difference. Rich people admire other rich and successful people, while others often resent them. And this may seem like a small detail, but it carries significant weight. Because when you admire success, you align yourself with it, you open yourself to learning from it, and you create a mindset that supports growth. But when you resent success, you push it away, you create internal conflict, and you sabotage your own potential, because you cannot attract what you secretly reject. And this is why your relationship with success matters, because it reflects your beliefs about what is possible for you. And as you continue on this path, you begin to understand that rich people associate with positive, successful individuals, while others often surround themselves with negativity. And this is not about judgment. It is about influence, because the people you spend time with shape your thinking. Your habits and your expectations. And this is why environment is such a powerful factor in success, because it either supports your growth or limits it. And this is why one of the most important financial principles you can apply is to intentionally choose your environment. To surround yourself with people who challenge you, who inspire you, and who push you to grow, because growth is not a solo journey. It is influenced by the people around you. And as you integrate these wealth files into your life, you begin to notice that your actions start to change. You become more proactive, more focused, and more aligned with your goals. And this alignment is what creates consistency, and consistency is what creates results. And as those results begin to improve, your confidence grows, your belief strengthens, and your identity begins to shift. And this is where the transformation becomes real, because you are no longer trying to act like a wealthy person. You are becoming one from the inside out. And this is the ultimate goal, not just to have wealth, but to be the kind of person who naturally creates and sustains it. Because when your identity aligns with your goals, success is no longer something you chase, it becomes something you attract. And as you continue to embody these principles, remember this powerful truth. Rich people focus on opportunities, poor people focus on obstacles. Because where you place your attention determines the quality of your life. And when you train your mind to see possibilities instead of limitations, you open yourself to a world of opportunities that were always there, but were previously hidden by your old way of thinking. And that is where your journey truly begins to accelerate, because once you change the way you think, you change the way you live. And when you change the way you live, you change your entire financial future in ways that once seemed impossible, but now become inevitable through the consistent application of principles that align your mindset, your actions, and your purpose with the life you are committed to creating as you move further into this transformation. You begin to realize that wealth is not just created by what you think, but by what you are willing to become, because at this level, success is no longer about learning new ideas. It is about embodying them, living them, and integrating them into your identity so deeply that they become your natural way of being. And this is where most people fall short, because they want the rewards of wealth without adopting the habits, the discipline, and the mindset that sustain it. And this is exactly why so many people experience temporary success but fail to maintain it, because their external results outgrow their internal blueprint. And as Harv Eker explains, if your inner world is not aligned with your outer success, you will unconsciously sabotage yourself to return to your comfort zone. And this is one of the most important truths you can understand on your path to financial freedom, that you do not get what you want. You have programmed for, and until you change that programming, your results will always gravitate back to familiar patterns. And this is where you must step into a higher level of awareness, because now it is not just about identifying your blueprint. It is about actively expanding your capacity to receive, to hold, and to grow wealth. And this requires a shift in how you see yourself, because your identity sets the ceiling for your success. And if you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, who is not good with finances, or who believes that wealth is for others but not for you, then no matter what strategies you apply, you will eventually return to that identity. And this is why the process of reconditioning is so powerful, because it allows you to install new beliefs, new habits, and new patterns that support your growth. And as you begin to do this, you will notice that your comfort zone starts to expand. What once felt impossible begins to feel achievable. What once felt uncomfortable begins to feel natural. And this is how transformation happens, not through force, but through gradual expansion of your identity. And this is where another powerful principle comes into play. Rich people are bigger than their problems, while others are smaller than theirs. And this difference is not about intelligence or resources, it is about perspective. Because when you are bigger than your problems, you see them as challenges to overcome, as opportunities to grow, and as stepping stones to success. But when you are smaller than your problems, you feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, and you retreat into fear and avoidance. And this is why growth is essential, because as your capacity increases, your problems become smaller in comparison, and your ability to handle them improves. And this is directly tied to financial success, because the more money you earn, the more challenges you will face. And if you are not prepared to handle those challenges, you will unconsciously limit your income to avoid them. And this is why one of the most important financial freedom principles is this: your income grows to the extent that you do, because your ability to manage money, to handle pressure, and to navigate complexity determines the level of success you can sustain. And as you continue to evolve, you begin to understand that rich people focus on net worth, while others focus on working income. And this is a critical shift, because working income is limited by your time and effort, but net worth is built through assets, through investments, and through systems that generate income independently of your direct involvement. And this is where true financial freedom begins, because when your money works for you, you are no longer dependent on your time to generate income. And this is why wealthy individuals prioritize building assets, whether through businesses, investments, or other income-generating opportunities, because they understand that financial independence is not achieved through earning alone, but through ownership. And this is a mindset shift that changes everything, because it moves you from being a participant in the economy to being a creator of value within it. And as you begin to adopt this perspective, you will also notice that rich people manage their money well, while others often mismanage it. And this is not about how much money you make, it is about how you handle what you have, because money management is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned, developed, and improved. And this is why financial discipline is so important, because without it, even large amounts of money can disappear quickly, but with it, even modest amounts can grow into substantial wealth over time. And this is where consistency becomes your greatest ally, because wealth is not built through sporadic effort, it is built through consistent, disciplined action over time. And this is why one of the most powerful habits you can develop is managing your money intentionally, tracking your income, controlling your expenses, and investing wisely, because these actions create a foundation for long-term growth. And as you continue on this path, you begin to see that rich people have their money work hard for them, while others work hard for their money. And this distinction is crucial, because when you rely solely on your effort, your income is limited. But when you create systems that generate income, your potential becomes unlimited. And this is where leverage comes into play, because leverage allows you to multiply your results without multiplying your effort. And this is one of the key principles of financial freedom, that you must move from linear growth to exponential growth. From trading time for money to creating value that generates income continuously. And as you integrate these principles into your life, you begin to experience a shift not just in your finances, but in your entire mindset. Because you are no longer focused on short-term gains, you are building long-term wealth. You are no longer reacting to circumstances, you are creating opportunities, and this is where your transformation becomes complete, because you are no longer operating from your old blueprint. You are living from a new one that supports your growth, your success, and your freedom. And as you continue forward, remember this powerful declaration: I am bigger than my problems, and I grow to match my success. Because in that moment, you are stepping into a new identity, one that is capable of handling greater challenges, achieving greater results, and creating a life of abundance that is not limited by your past, but defined by your potential. And this is where your journey reaches a new level, because you are no longer just learning about wealth, you are becoming it, embodying it, and living it in a way that transforms not only your financial life, but every aspect of who you are and what you are capable of achieving moving forward. And now, as you reach the final stage of this journey, everything begins to come together with a clarity that changes not just how you see money, but how you see yourself. Because at the highest level, wealth is not about tactics, it is not about strategies, and it is not even about opportunities. It is about identity. It is about who you believe you are, what you believe you deserve, and what you are willing to accept as your reality. And this is where the ultimate shift occurs, because you begin to understand that financial freedom is not something you chase, it is something you align with, something you grow into, something you become, and creating the life you truly desire. And once you fully embrace this, once you embody it, once you live it, there is no limit to what you can achieve, because your greatest asset is no longer external, it is internal. It is your mind, your beliefs, or mind, your belief, and your ability to shape your reality from the inside out. And that is the ultimate secret, the secret that transforms not just your finances, but your entire life into something extraordinary, something intentional, and something truly limitless.